If you'd rather fight a bear than walk into a packed concert, a crowded bar, or a sold-out stadium, you're not broken, you're not antisocial, and you're definitely not weird. What's actually happening is that your brain is wired differently from most people in a way modern society completely misunderstands. While everyone else chases noise, chaos, and constant stimulation, your mind is doing something far more intelligent. And once you understand what that is, you'll never feel guilty again for choosing silence, space, and solitude over crowds. Imagine this. It's Friday night. You finally sit down after a long week. Your brain ready to shut down, your nervous system begging for peace. Then your phone buzzes. We're all going downtown. That new place is insane. Super crowded, but the vibe is crazy. And instantly, your energy drops. Not because you hate your friends, not because you hate fun, but because your brain just ran a silent cost-benefit analysis and realized what that invite really means. Loud music, fake small talk, awkward social performances, people bumping into you, nowhere to breathe, and zero space to think. Everyone else is hyped. You're already exhausted just imagining it. You start thinking of excuses, not because you're flaky, but because deep down you know that one night out will cost you 2 days of emotional recovery. And the worst part? You feel guilty for even feeling this way, like something must be wrong with you, but nothing is wrong with you at all. Here's the reframe most people never hear. You are not the problem, you're not defective, you're not socially broken, and you're not failing at life because you don't crave crowds. Society is built around loud personalities, constant connection, and non-stop stimulation, so anyone who doesn't fit that mold gets labeled as shy, antisocial, or boring. But that label is lazy psychology. The truth is, your brain operates on a different system. While most people are wired to seek external stimulation, validation, and noise, your nervous system is optimized for depth, awareness, and internal processing. You don't move slower than others because you're weak. You move slower because your mind is doing more work per second. What feels like avoidance to the outside world is actually self-regulation. What looks like isolation is actually intelligence. You're not running away from life. You're protecting your mental energy in a world that constantly tries to drain it. Point 1. High sensory sensitivity. Most people's brains come with a built-in spam filter. They walk into a crowded place, and their mind automatically deletes most of the noise, the faces, the random movements, the background conversations, and the visual chaos. Their brain keeps only what feels important and ignores the rest. Yours doesn't do that. Your brain is screenshotting everything, every loud laugh, every flashing light, every shift in someone's tone, every awkward pause, every weird vibe change in the room. Psychologists call this sensory processing sensitivity, and it's not a disorder. It's a trait. About 20% of the population has it, which means 1 in 5 people is walking around with a nervous system set to notice everything or die trying. You're not overthinking. You're over-perceiving. Your brain is constantly collecting data, storing it, cross-referencing it, and trying to make sense of patterns most people never even register. That random, uncomfortable moment from 3 weeks ago that nobody else remembers. Your brain filed it under possibly relevant and keeps pulling it back up for review. This isn't a flaw. It's a high-resolution operating system running in a low-resolution world. And when you put that kind of brain into a loud, chaotic, crowded environment, it doesn't feel fun. It feels like psychological warfare. Point 2. You see through social masks. You don't hate people. You hate the performance. In crowded places, everyone is acting like they're in a movie about their own life. The "I'm having so much fun" act. The "I'm totally listening" act. The "everything's fine" act, even when their jaw is tight and their eyes look dead inside. And your brain sees straight through it. You're not judging them, you're decoding them. Your emotional radar is so sharp that you're constantly translating the real conversation happening underneath the words, the body language, the micro-expressions, the shifts in energy, no one is talking about out loud. Psychologists call this high perceptual sensitivity. It means your mind is tuned into emotional subtext, the same way a musician hears notes other people miss. That's why small talk feels like chewing cardboard to you. It's not that you can't do it. It's that your nervous system experiences it as meaningless noise. You crave depth, honesty, and real connection. You'd rather have one raw 3 a.m. conversation about life than 50 surface-level interactions where everyone is performing their highlight reel. And studies consistently show that people who prefer solitude tend to score higher in emotional intelligence. Translation: you're not socially awkward. You're socially sophisticated. You just refuse to play pretend. Point 3. Your reward system is different. Here's where your brain really separates from the crowd. Your reward system is wired differently. Most people get their dopamine hit from noise, novelty, and social chaos. Walk into a party and their brain lights up like a slot machine. For you, it doesn't work that way. Your brain runs more on acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter linked to deep focus, introspection, calm satisfaction, and internal clarity. That's why reading alone at midnight feels better than a nightclub. That's why a quiet solo walk can reset your entire mood. That's why sitting in silence actually feels productive to you, not boring. You don't need external stimulation to feel alive. You need internal space to access your full operating system. Neuroscientists have found that introverted brains often show thicker gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, self-awareness, and complex thinking. So when you look like you're doing nothing, your brain is actually doing everything. It's processing, connecting, organizing, creating. You're not lazy. You're not disengaged. You're composing symphonies in your head while everyone else is listening to elevator music. Point 4. You absorb emotions like a sponge. Ever walk into a room and instantly feel that something's off, even when everyone's smiling and pretending everything is fine? That's not anxiety, that's accuracy. Your brain has what psychologists call hyperactive mirror neurons. You don't just notice emotions, you absorb them. You download the stress, the tension, the insecurity, the excitement, and the chaos of everyone around you straight into your own nervous system. After 2 hours in a crowded place, you're not just tired from talking. You're exhausted because you've been unconsciously carrying the emotional weight of dozens of people at the same time. That's why a fun night out can leave you feeling drained for days. Your system wasn't just socializing. It was processing hundreds of emotional data streams while also trying to keep you regulated. But here's the hidden advantage. This is the same trait that makes you deeply intuitive, unusually empathetic, and shockingly good at understanding what people are really feeling before they say a word. Most people barely understand their own emotions. You're out here understanding everyone else's. That's not weakness. That's elite-level emotional intelligence. Point 5. Solitude isn't escape, it's evolution. Here's the part nobody tells you. You're not running away from life when you choose solitude. You're running toward yourself. American culture is obsessed with noise, hustle, constant productivity, being busy, being loud, being everywhere, being seen. It sells the idea that if you're not out every weekend, posting every moment, surrounding yourself with people 24/7, you're somehow failing at life. But you figured out something most people spend decades avoiding. Silence isn't empty. It's where clarity lives. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's where you finally hear your own thoughts without interference. When you're alone, your mind isn't shrinking. It's expanding. You're integrating experiences, making meaning, connecting dots, and building an inner world most people never develop. You're not missing out. You're opting out of a system that was never designed for people who think deeply, feel deeply, and see deeply. Your peace isn't isolation. It's evolution. So the next time someone asks you, why don't you go out more? Remember this. You're not defective. You're not boring. And you're not antisocial. You were made for depth in a world obsessed with noise. Your mind was designed for meaning, not for madness. And that's not a flaw. It's a rare advantage. If you identified with this, subscribe to the channel and see you in the next video.